Hey guys, I am here with Lori Allen from TLC Say Yes to This Dress. What a crazy time to be alive and to even be in the bridal business, but I'm so grateful for her and what she does. She has a new book that's coming, which is Say Yes to What's Next. So Lori, thanks for sitting down to chat with the Christian Post.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
crazy. So we were talking a little bit before we kicked this off
Mhm.
about just this season of being in the bridal business. Your store is now reopened.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that. How's the experience of having such an intimate, emotional moment with brides, but still kind of being in a quarantine?
We were able to reopen on May 1st. And during this time, we've had to create our new normal, for the time being anyway. And I think all of us are asking ourselves, what is our new normal right
So
now?
true.
And we had all these guidelines we had to follow, such as the sneeze screens around the desk. Everyone has to wear a mask because we get up a little closer to people than the 6 feet distance. You're
Yeah.
helping them in and out of gowns, you're putting veils on them. Shopping for bridal is very emotional.
Yeah.
We touch people, we hug them. I mean,
Yeah.
we're sharing a journey with them, and it's very difficult to do behind this little mask. All the employees wear them. All the customers wear them. We do the temperature check when you walk in the door. But you know what? For the most part, people have been great about this because they understand that this
Yeah.
is our normal right now.
Mm.
And they understand that we're trying to protect our employees. And I'm a breast cancer survivor, so I've really got a compromised immune system. So I have to
Wow.
be careful also. And so
Yes.
they understand we're trying to protect them and our employees and their families. So
Yeah.
we have to do a lot of crazy things right now that I never in a million years thought we would have to do. A
I
million.
know. And what a time to release a book with
Oh,
such an incredible, I think the theme of the book, I was doing my research before we jumped on this call, and
right.
you know, nobody even knows what's next,
No,
but I love that you're talking about, being willing to say yes to the process and kind of wherever it leads you. Tell us a little bit about your new book and what we
okay.
can expect.
I'd love to. I think the title is so appropriate for now. I mean, because even though life is crazy, we all have to have our faith and our hope and our belief in God, and
Yeah.
we have to move forward, and we have to say yes to what's next. I just think it's so important now, and especially for women. This book is geared to women,
Mhm.
and this book is geared to women of all ages and women that, we need to just sit and reflect and think, we've had all this time off. We've all been quarantined at home. Um, you know, are we happy? Are we fulfilled? Are
Mhm.
we giving so much that we're just not getting anything back or taking time
Mhm.
for ourselves?
Mhm.
Do we have hope in our future? And do we love our life? And I just have seen this for years. I have been guiding women. Not only, this is my 40th year in December. Can you believe that?
Wow,
Been working in
amazing.
bridal 40 years in December. And I
You
have been
started
like,
when you were 5 years old?
oh, yes, honey, I was out of kindergarten.
You look incredible.
Oh,
Oh
you're
my God.
sweet. You're sweet. I started right out of college, and I'm
Mm.
actually a business major, and I started a small store, which is actually right across the street from me now.
Oh,
But, I talk about how really nothing has been handed to me. I'm a very hard worker, and I give 110% to whatever I do. Now, do I have a passion for what I do? Absolutely. I
mm.
don't do it unless I want to do it and unless I love what I'm doing. And you've got to wake up your day and get up for your day with joy. And I think we all need to look forward to our day and to look forward to what's next. And
Yeah.
so that kind of propelled me into the book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what the truth is, a lot of women in particular, we do get caught up with being the caregivers and the
Mhm.
nurturers, which is, part of how God made us. But do we enjoy the things that we do for work? The things that we
Right.
do. It's not easy to always do what you're passionate about because you feel like, well, I can't take the risk because maybe it won't give the reward. And I think you're an incredible example of that, just following your passion, just what you
Got to
just said.
follow your heart, your heart. And I'm not saying, go out and quit your job, but maybe start something on the side,
Yeah.
explore other interests. You need to see what sings in your heart, what makes you happy. And I see so many women. I mean, my daughter has young children, my daughter-in-law, they're giving, giving, giving. And I'm like, you need to take time for you, because
Wow.
at the end of the day, you need to be happy. You'll be a much better mother. You'll be a much better employee and employer, and a much better person, more
Yeah.
caring and giving, if you're happy with yourself.
Yeah, I love that. And, I love that you touched on faith. And, one of the pitches that they set for me was just kind of, how to say yes to what God has next for you. I'd love to hear just a little bit about your own faith and how that kind of plays a role in the passion and the drive that you have.
Well, absolutely. First off, I started my business 1,000 square feet, 4 dressing rooms. Okay. It was,
Wow.
honey, begging for people to come in the door.
Oh,
So, I've been there. I've been through 2008 when the economy tanked. I've been through 9/11, when you have to keep faith and hope alive. I mean, I could have given up. I could have given up many times. I'm a breast cancer survivor. I could have let that just take over my life and, and essentially ruin my life. But there's times when you have to dig deep. And I find as Christians, you have to have hope with faith. I mean, hope is, to me, is the natural evolution of faith. I mean, I read somewhere that over 80 times the Bible says, fear not. And that's how I live my life. I am not going to live my life in fear. I've done everything. I'm not everything. Lord knows I need to do many more, but I have had breast cancer. I have planted on my face. I had a terrible fall just last year and broke
yeah.
everything. Just like an accident that happened in a second. I've had all kinds of crazy things happen to me, but yet I have not let that fear sneak in, because I'm not going to, because I believe in God and believe in the Bible, and fear not is what I'm going with.
Yeah, amen. I love it.
Amen.
We live in a time where, just looking at the news, and there's just social unrest everywhere. There's,
Yes.
the fear of coronavirus lingering, and things like that. What do you make of it all? And how do you encourage everyone, just through the materials that will be in your book, to kind
Right.
of face everything that we're up against? It's just really a crazy
So
time.
sometimes I think we can let it be overwhelming. And
Yeah.
for myself, I've had to pull back a little from watching the news every second of the day and reading. I have, because I found like I was feeling heavy. And
Mm.
you got to listen to your body and listen to yourself. And that's when you go to your Bible and your devotional, and for hope and encouragement. And that's what will lift you. And that's what I've had to do, because I'm human. I could listen, to all that 24/7 and say, oh my gosh, the store's never going to reopen and there's going to be unrest in this country forever. But I don't believe that, because I believe as Christians, we have to be compassionate and love one another. And
Mhm.
I think we have to not judge. And I
Mhm.
think that's been where I have always not judged people. I have a multitude of friends, a very diverse group of employees here, and a very diverse group of customers. And I think we all just love each other because we don't judge.
Yeah, and we all go through the same things. I mean, just in your business, for instance, that's what we want. We all want love. We all want to find that moment,
That's
where we
right.
can go to a store like yours and try on the dress and say yes.
And say yes, and be treated with respect, no
Yeah,
matter who you are, because
yeah,
we are all equal and we are all important in this world and in God's eyes. I
yeah.
mean, we're all the same.
Yeah, I love that. That's so wonderful. Switching gears a little, I know
Yep.
you wrote the book with your daughter.
Hmm.
I heard in a little clip of an interview that she said it was a very emotional experience for you.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, talk a little bit about what were some of those hard things that you do discuss in your book
Okay.
to help,
Well,
encourage?
I felt like that if I was going to tell this story, it was going to be like I was told you earlier, it was going to be 100% real because that's who I am. No whole bars. And I'm not fakey. I wanted it to be true. And, when you explore your marriage and you talk about times that it's not easy because it's not a fairy tale and people that watch these movies and think that you're going to ride off in a carriage and everything's going to be perfect, it's not.
Yeah.
And so, I had to explore my marriage in the book, and I explored dealing with grown children in the book and how I am as a mother-in-law. It's a little absurd sometimes. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I explored that, and what I need to do to improve, and, how I have given and given and given, and maybe sometimes that's not the right thing to do, and how as a mom, how you did as a mom and how you're doing as a mom. And then I explore aging parents. My parents are getting a little older, and that's so hard.
Yeah.
And where do you draw the line as a person to help them, but not in any way, shape, or form impede on their dignity? I would never do that, And so we discussed that. I discussed self-care because I find the older I get, the more important it is to spread the message of self-care. And as I discussed with you earlier, it is, to me, one of the most important things is to have a routine of, like, for me, it's to read my devotional in the morning and then work out, even though I hate sweating more than anyone in this world.
Me too. I hate it.
I'm so proud of myself when I get finished. But anyway, and just eating healthy and taking care of yourself. I see every day and still continue to see women in this store, and they'll say, get my daughter whatever she wants. She deserves whatever she wants. She's so fantastic. And it's so sweet. And again, it's our nurturing, giving spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's time for her to choose her gown, she's like, I don't know, just find me something on the sale rack. I don't deserve it. That's not the way we should feel about ourselves, because, the mom that has given and given and given and continues to give, each time she gives, her own self-worth is going down a little bit, and I'm trying to bring her back up to show how valuable she really is. I look at life as I said it in the book, it's like this cookie. And with this cookie, it's divided into fourths. And, when you get into this last half of the cookie where you have your kids and you're going crazy and you're raising your family. And then the last quarter of that cookie is when you say you're over 55, 50 in that area. How do you want to live your life? Do you want to look back on your life and say, I gave it 110% all the way through. I ate every crumb of that cookie and enjoyed every bite of it. Or do you want to say I pulled back and I really didn't do anything?
My mother, she's turning 60 next year, and she just moved to Florida. And I believe she's finally starting to actually live her own life, because she has been rearing children, and being she works as well, but being a housewife as well, and mother and all these things. And now I keep telling her, it's your time, and I love the subtitle of your book, which says, how to age with elegance and class while never losing your sass.
Never lose your sass. I mean, I think our sass makes us unique, and I'm way sassy. But anybody can tell you that. But I think that's what makes us unique, and it makes us fun. And, when we feel good about ourselves, everything changes. I mean, it like opens new doors for us. Our attitudes change. We want to embrace life, and all that comes from feeling good about yourself, and just taking a step back, figuring out who you are.
Yeah. Well, Lori, I appreciate you taking time to chat with us about the book. Is there anything else that you want us to know, or that we can look forward to that we haven't addressed?
Well, I think the book to me is just first off, the title is just so appropriate for now. I mean, we can't say yes to, we all need to say yes to what's next. But as women in particular, I don't ever want us to sell ourselves short. I think we have such a bright future ahead of us. And no matter what our age is, I want us all to embrace life, no matter what.
I love it. And it's such a great message for right now because we've all been forced to take a pause and
Mm-hmm.
really, reevaluate everything. So
Yep,
now we can go back into that season, with
that's
really
right.
doing what we want to do. Especially in a time like today where tomorrow is not promised and that's more evident than ever.
That's
Every
what I was going to say. Tomorrow's not promised for us, you
Yep.
know? So, with that in mind, how do you want to carry on with your future? What's next for you? So, for all of us women. So, that's the perfect way to end our conversation.
Yes, and I love it. And I think our audience they're going to just love to find out about just you and your own personal faith journey and your own commitment to your faith and hope and
Absolutely.
how that, empowers you. I think that's a unique thing that I hadn't known really.
Every day. Every day. I was raised in church. So, every day, it's my motivation. It's how I get through the day some days, because some days in here are crazy. But you can imagine.
I get
But
you.
but every day it propels me forward.